What's up YouTube? So I'm here today to do a fairy tale manga review, and this will be on current topics regarding the plot and future speculation. So this will in fact be on chapter 337 of Fairy Tale, which we know is not the current chapter, the latest chapter, but hear me out here. I want to go one by one. I'm catching up with the latest chapters, so I'm a little bit behind, and I really feel the points I make in this chapter encompass the entire Fairy Tale manga, so it is not limited to the latest chapter, and you should not think of this as outdated information. And so I really think I'm only like 10 chapters behind, if not like 5 chapters behind with this, and I really don't think the points I make regarding the strength of the characters and the future prospects will have any big change in the next 5 chapters. I've skimmed through the future 5 chapters, and it's just like them celebrating. So the things I'm going to say will not change, and so even if the chapter number is outdated, it's still very relevant. So chapter 337, I'm assuming you've read all the chapters including this chapter, so there will be no summary. I will, however, mention some very brief points. Very first thing that happens, all these dragons get brought back through time. The gate has been destroyed. First off, I don't think how it was destroyed was very elegant or ingenious or whatever. It seemed like the gates were impenetrable, like invincible. And how they were destroyed, I don't want to talk about too much because I don't think the author put too much thought into it. It's kind of like one of those plot twists where he just has no time to think about it, so he just chooses some loophole to destroy these invincible gates. However, the beats all get turned back, and one thing to note is the fire dragon in this arc goes back in time, and before he does, he says, "I will remember you, Natsu Dragneel." And that's saying that once they go to the future and they come back, they will retain the memories of them in the future, or in this alternate timeline. So that means he might go back in time and explain, to Igneel, the king of fire dragons, everything that's been going on. And from there, they will have hefty preparations, and the dragons will, tell them, okay, this is what the future is like, we should prepare, and they should be prepared for whatever will happen before they mysteriously get wiped out. Who knows? Apparently it's Acnologia who did this, who knows. The next major point is the thing with the Jade Dragon. Apparently her name, this princess's name is Hisu, which apparently means the same thing as Jade, which is what this dragon's name, the Jade Dragon. But the Jade Dragon himself does not recognize this name as of yet, although he says there is a pleasant ring to the name. And so, what can I say? Jade Dragon, I'm thinking she has some connection to this dragon, potentially some ancestral connection. How does that work? Maybe one of her ancestors was a disciple as a dragon slayer to this guy. Who knows? The next important point, and the most important point, is that none of these dragon slayers were able to take out the dragons, and this has been mentioned in the chapter. On top of that, freaking what's his name? The fairy tale head mistress ghost. She says that, first off, how is this ghost like just floating here eternally helping out Fairy Tale? It's very strange. But regardless, she says that there's no chance that any of these dragons were even near the level of Acnologia. So that's saying something. That's saying, first off, Acnologia was originally a dragon slayer, so this dragon slayer must have been really, really talented, because so many years later, you would expect the dragon slayer magic to have progressed to an advanced level from development and technology and just training. And yet here they are, unable to defeat dragons of mediocre caliber, or at least mediocre compared to Acnologia, from way in the past. So again, this is kind of like in Naruto, where it seems like with each generation, magic has somehow deprecated to a lower standard. Regardless, everyone is happy that they've gotten rid of the dragons, and it does leave a bad taste in your mouth with the fact that they weren't truly able to defeat them with fighting capabilities. It was done by pure chance. They managed to destroy the gate, which brought them back into their own times. So again, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Maybe it will bring something else. Finally, the last thing is Frosh. Okay, it is mentioned. Natsu is warned. Please protect Frosh in a year. Otherwise, he will be killed. Will Natsu remember? Hopefully, most likely he will. Will this be enough to stop this guy from falling back into corruption and doing the same thing with his shadows and stuff? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see what happens in a year, but from what we've seen before, it does not seem like protecting Frosh was some easy task. It was something that was unavoidable, which eventually caused the timeline with Acnologia ruling the entire world. So that's about it. The final cutscene is the future Lucy, who kind of glows and then disappears. Her dead body, at least. She wakes up in like this huge field, sees all her friends like beckoning her to come with them in this grass field, and it's implied that this is like some afterlife place, because you can't see any of her friends' faces or anything. Her friends being Natsu and everyone else. So, I mean, technically we do see Natsu's face in one of the panels, but that's it for the chapter. What can I say? Does that mean everyone who died who came from the future go to the afterlife, or is this saying something completely? Do they just end up going back to their original timelines? We don't know. The main thing is, I'm hoping something will happen with Frosh will be very intense like predicted. It's not going to be an easy task to protect Frosh. Finally, I mean, this encompasses the whole manga. A lot of chapter reviewers on YouTube, or technically just a couple, big ones, they have dropped Fairy Tail midway through about a couple months ago because they were so unimpressed by the latest chapters. Personally, again, this is in a lot of ways a very simple plot, not a lot of complexity and too much cartoon little kid stuff. Sure, you do get the occasional adult sort of depictions of the females, but other than that, I mean, the plot, the character development, everything seems to be very, very simple, like almost kid-like, in order to keep it for a younger audience who might not be interested in the plot or remember the plot. Who knows? I think that was a bad move by the author. This had a lot of potential to be a very complicated, interesting plot summary, but it is what it is, and so that's it for this review of Fairy Tail from chapter 1 to 337 on Future Speculation. Please subscribe if you want more information, and The next video will most likely be on the latest chapter of Fairy Tail. So rather than doing a review on each one leading up, I'm just going to not do another review until I just, plow through the next 10 chapters, which will keep me up to date with the latest chapter of Fairy Tail, which was released half a day ago. So stay tuned for the latest chapter review on Fairy Tail in my next video, hopefully. Peace out and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe.